Focus on Ports, brought to you by Transnet National Ports Authority.
Kenya has a number of ports, but the Port of Mombasa is the key driver of their maritime and shipping industry.
The Port of Mombasa, as you rightly put it, is very strategically situated, much as Kenya is. I know you know that Kenya sits on the equator, and the Port of Mombasa is just maybe a degree or so south of the equator. And we have a huge hinterland in the name of the Great Lakes region. We serve the Uganda, we serve Rwanda, we serve Burundi, DR Congo, we serve northeastern Tanzania, parts of Ethiopia, and now South Sudan. With regard to the port infrastructure, it's in reasonably good state. We've got a very, what I call, reasonably new complement of equipment for handling containers. We also have a very, modern equipment for handling conventional cargoes. And the port facilities, especially the berths, the stacking yards, are in very, very good state. The only challenge we would say is that with regard to the offtake into and out of the port, because we are reliant on the road and the railways for purposes of lifting or bringing in cargo. When you venture into the hinterland, the status of the road infrastructure might not be what it should be, while at the same time the status of the railway system is such that it has dilapidated over time and its share of business is really small.
The Port of Mombasa is supposed to handle 250,000 TEUs, or 20-foot equivalent units, per year. But last year, 771,000 TEUs passed through, putting the port under immense pressure. A plan is being put in place to build a new terminal with a capacity of 1.2 million TEUs.
And the exciting one is that there's another port in Lamu, which is going to be having about 32 terminals. 3 of them are already being built by the government, one for the oil, another one for conventional vessels, and one for the terminal. And this is going to link Lamu with Yaoundé in West Africa.
But of course, business in Africa is never easy. As the continent is still a work in progress, challenges are always just around the corner.
The other major challenge is the issue of non-tariff barriers. We have a lot of other players who have a role in the business of port business. We have various interveners in the form of customs department. We have the roles of bureaus of standards. We have anti-radiation. We have counterfeit bodies, all who want to intervene or who want to have a role in the flow of the business. And of course, we also have security issues and concerns which are along the entire northern corridor.
One of the best things about Africa, though, is opportunity.
Oil is a huge opportunity for us. And the thiamine already, they are putting up a berth for a mineral thiamine. It has been found in Kenya, Kwale, in Mombasa, just in Mombasa. So they're already putting up a quay next to the Mombasa port that will be loading vessels to carry thiamine out of Kenya. And the oil was recently discovered in northern Kenya. That's a very good opportunity for us in as far as the port industry is concerned. So we are likely to see crude oil coming from Kenya. And more so, there's already oil being drilled from southern Sudan. And when Lamu is complete and the pipeline is built, that will be a major opportunity for the port activities. But apart from that, the regions that the Kenyan ports are going to serve are quite serving the eastern part of DRC, serving Uganda, serving North Tanzania, and South Sudan. So these are very exciting.
There are quite a number of opportunities that one would expect as the port evolves from where it is. As I've already mentioned, we've got what I call like a major capacity issue, and we need to generate that faster than later. And therefore, there is room and scope for private sector involvement in the development of additional cargo handling facilities. Of course, that will also come with the cargo handling equipment. There will also be need for instance to move into the new areas that have not been tapped, especially like the development of free port facilities and operationalization of the same. There might also be need for investments in additional quays in the existing port and in the new facilities adjacent to the existing port. There is also need to remodernize part of the facilities that are there.
Think of any business idea. Somewhere on the continent, this idea is waiting to be exploited.
Africa still remains a continent that is many miles in terms of development with regard to the developed world. And much as there is a lot of potential and a lot of interest now being refocused on Africa, there's still quite a number of challenges, especially that with regard to what is known about Africa. When you look at Africa, the issue of penetration is still an issue because the infrastructure to connect the region is still lacking. When you look at the performance of Africa in terms of the GDP, in terms of its role in trade, is still very limited. This could be as a result of inability to access most of the population. So I would see an issue where the African people, the African government must make a deliberate effort to try and raise their awareness and also provide the appropriate infrastructure that will connect their peoples so that they can, number one, be in contact with one another, number two, have access to what is available from within other regions, and number three, make them a major market with regard to the world.